Today we're going to be unboxing Maxpeedingrods suspension kit for a 2016 Ford Fusion. You can always trust Maxpeedingrods to deliver quality parts at very affordable prices. Alright, starting the unboxing, here's the control arms, sway bar end links, outer tie rods, and last but not least, your inner tie rods. Alright, so getting further into the unboxing, here are the tools that you're going to need. Alright, so starting off, you're going to need a 1/2" impact, a 1/2" extension, a 21mm wrench, a 19mm wrench, an 18mm wrench, a 15mm, and a 13mm wrench, 10mm socket, 18mm, 19mm, 21, 6mm Allen, T30 Torx, and then a breaker bar, and then a large extension and a medium extension. Next is going to be a flathead screwdriver, a large ratchet wrench, a small crescent wrench, a pair of adjusting pliers, a large torque wrench, and last, a big crescent wrench. Alright, now you're going to want to go ahead and pop that hood and get ready to get the car on a lift. Make sure everything is safe and go ahead and lift up your car. While the car is lifting, make sure your tools are in order and grab your 19mm socket and start taking off those lug nuts while the car is still on the ground. Now, starting off with the real work, grab your 10mm socket and go ahead and start removing those splash shields one by one. Alright, once you get those dust shields off, you're going to want to go ahead and grab a 15mm open end wrench and a 21mm socket and a ratchet. Go ahead and go to your ball joint and put the 15mm on the back and start cranking away with the 21mm. Once that's loose, remove the nut and the bolt and then you can move on to the next step. Go ahead and grab your 21mm and an impact and you're going to want to remove the bolt from the control arm bushing. Once that's done, you're going to drop the bolt down and grab your 18mm, and from there you're going to want to remove control arm bracket bolts. Once you get both of those out, you could then go ahead and remove the lower control arm from the knuckle and then from the subframe of the car, and it will push right out. And boom, just like that, you got your control arms out. Go ahead and grab your adjusting wrench and start pulling off those outer tie rod end links. There's going to be one nut. Break that loose and then remove it with the 21mm on the knuckle. Alright, once you get that off, you're going to want to grab your 13mm and 19mm and just go ahead and turn off that outer tie rod end link, just like so. From there, you could remove the nut and then you're going to want to take your pair of adjusting pliers and grab that clip and then remove the dust shield. Like so, it's that easy. Alright, so now that the dust shield comes off, grab your adjusting wrench and boom, pop off the inner tie rod. Alright, here we have the new tie rod from Maxpeedingrods. Go ahead and line it up and start threading it in, and then you're going to want to grab your adjustable wrench and fully tighten it up. And boom, you're good to go. New inner tie rod. Go ahead and take your boot, put your boot back on, and then grab the clip with your adjusting pliers and pop that back on. This is crucial that you do not damage the boot. You're then going to want to grab an 18mm wrench and a 6mm Allen key and go ahead and loosen the sway bar end link. Insert the 6mm Allen inside the end link and then break off the bolt with the 18mm wrench, like so. Alright, so from here, you could work on getting the new tie rods on. Go ahead and take your new tie rod and thread it on like so. Once you're done with that, go ahead and put the ball joint inside the knuckle. This can be a little difficult, but once you get it in, go ahead and put your bolt and thread it on hand tight. And then from there, take your impacts and go ahead and tighten everything up. Once you get the ball joint tight, you can then move on to the nuts. Go ahead and tighten up the nut, but later on, you're going to have to tighten it again once you get your alignment done. Next, you're going to want to get your 18mm socket and impact and go ahead and loosen the sway bar mounting point. The bracket will come off, so you're going to want to hold it. Once the nut's off, put the new sway bar end link through, and then put the bracket back and tighten everything up according to torque specs. Right, so now that that's tightened up, we're getting down into the final process of the whole job. Now you're going to want to go ahead and take your control arm and put it in, and then just like the removal, go ahead and put the bolts back in and tighten them up. Here you can see we're putting in the 2 mounting bolts for the control arm. Next, you're going to want to take your 18mm and boom, tighten both of those up. From there, grab your torque wrench and go ahead and torque it all down to spec. Next, take your 21mm and you're going to want to tighten the bushing bolt too, and then torque that down to spec as well. Alright, now with the ball joint, same thing here. This can sometimes be tedious, but you're going to want to move the ball joint in the knuckle into the lines properly. Once that's in, go ahead and take your nut and bolt, tighten it, and then from there, you're also going to want to torque this down. Anything that you take off and replace is always going to want to be torqued down to spec for proper safety precautions. Next is the sway bar end link. Go ahead and take that, put that in, and take your Torx and your 19mm and tighten this down as well. Now, getting down into the final steps of the job, you're going to want to go back to the 10mm and go ahead and put all those splash shields that you took off back on the vehicle. This can be done by simply tightening a few bolts and boom, you're done. Last but not least, go ahead and put your wheel back on, put your lug nuts on, and once they're hand tight, lower the car a little bit and go ahead and torque all the lug nuts down to spec. Double check and ensure that everything has been torqued to spec for proper safety precautions, and then boom, you're good to go. Always remember, if you need quality parts at low prices for your car, you can always trust Maxpeedingrods to deliver them.